What if you are not lazy at all? What if your brain is just exhausted from surviving too much for too long? Most people don't realize depression shows up in behavior before it shows up in feelings. Depression doesn't always look like sadness. Most of the time, it shows up in your behavior first. You stop replying to messages, your room gets messy, showering feels hard, and slowly you start calling yourself lazy. But here's the truth, these are not character flaws, they are signals from an exhausted brain. In this video, we're going to walk through 10 very common things depression makes people do, not to label you, not to diagnose you, but to help you understand what's actually happening beneath the surface. And if you recognize yourself in any of these, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means your system has been under more pressure than it can handle alone. Let's talk about it. Part 1. Isolating yourself. You stop replying to messages, not because you don't care, but because even typing a short reply feels heavy. At first, you tell yourself you'll answer later. Later turns into days. Days turn into silence, so you cancel plans. You stay home. You convince yourself it's better to be alone. But here's what's really happening. When you're depressed, social interaction costs more energy than you have. Your brain treats people like a task, not a comfort. Isolation isn't rejection. It's your nervous system trying to reduce stimulation so it can survive. The problem is, the longer you isolate, the more your world shrinks, and the quieter it gets, the louder your thoughts become. And that's when the story in your head starts changing. Because once you're alone, long enough, your mind doesn't just get quiet, it turns against you. Part 2. Living in a messy space. Your room slowly falls apart. Clothes stay on the floor. Dishes pile up. Trash sits there longer than it should. You see the mess every day, and every day you tell yourself you'll clean it tomorrow, but tomorrow feels just as heavy. This isn't because you don't care, it's because depression drains your mental energy first. Cleaning isn't just physical effort, it's planning, deciding, starting, and finishing. When your brain is exhausted, even simple steps feel overwhelming. A messy space often isn't the cause of depression. It's a visible symptom of cognitive fatigue. The cruel part is that the mess starts talking back to you. It makes you feel ashamed. It reinforces the idea that you're failing. And the more ashamed you feel, the harder it becomes to begin. Because once your space collapses, self-care is usually the next thing to disappear. Part 3. Poor hygiene. Showering starts to feel like too much. So does brushing your teeth. Changing into clean clothes feels unnecessary or even pointless. From the outside, it looks careless. From the inside, it feels exhausting. When you're depressed, your body feels heavy. Getting out of bed already costs effort. Adding self-care on top of that can feel painful, not refreshing. Depression often disconnects you from your body. You stop feeling comfort as a reward, so care begins to feel meaningless. This is where shame quietly builds. You notice the changes. You judge yourself for them, and the more ashamed you feel, the more you avoid mirrors, people, and routines. It becomes a loop. Neglect feeds shame. Shame feeds further neglect. And when your body starts to feel unfamiliar, sleep is usually the next thing to break. Part 4. Struggling with sleep. Night comes, but your mind won't slow down. You lie in bed, exhausted yet wide awake. Thoughts replay, regrets resurface. Worries feel louder in the dark. For some people, it goes the opposite way. They sleep for hours, sometimes all day, and still wake up feeling empty and unrested. Depression disrupts your internal rhythm. Your brain stays alert when it should rest, or it shuts down completely as a form of escape. Sleep problems in depression aren't about habits. They're signs of a nervous system stuck between hyper-alert and collapse. When sleep breaks, everything else becomes harder. Focus slips. Emotions intensify. Energy drops even further. You start the day already behind, already blaming yourself. And when your body is tired, but your mind won't rest, your thoughts begin to turn darker than reality. Part 5. Catastrophizing everything. A small mistake feels huge. One awkward moment becomes proof that everything is going wrong. Your mind jumps to the worst possible conclusion. Fast and without warning, you miss a deadline. Suddenly, you're convinced your future is ruined. Someone sounds distant. You assume they're disappointed in you. This isn't pessimism. It's depression distorting how your brain processes threat. When you're depressed, your mind scans for danger. It collects negative evidence and ignores everything else, not to hurt you, but to prepare you for disappointment. Catastrophizing is your brain trying to regain control by predicting pain before it arrives. The problem is living in constant what if keeps you trapped. It drains hope. It makes progress feel pointless. And once your thoughts turn against you, even neutral situations start to feel unsafe. And when your mind becomes the loudest critic, your relationship with food is often the next thing to change. Part 6. Terrible eating habits. Food stops feeling simple. For some people, eating becomes constant and mindless. You snack without hunger, hoping to fill a quiet emptiness. For others, the opposite happens. Hunger disappears. The idea of cooking feels overwhelming. Even choosing what to eat feels like too many decisions. Depression disrupts your appetite signals. Your body either looks for comfort or it shuts down. Desire completely. Eating changes in depression are often about regulation, not willpower. Food becomes a way to soothe the nervous system, or a task the system avoids. Over time, this affects your energy even more. Blood sugar crashes, fatigue deepens, your body falls further out of balance, and the worse you feel physically, the harder it becomes to respond emotionally. And when your energy keeps dropping, motivation is usually the first thing people think they've lost. Part 7. Lack of motivation. Things you once enjoyed stop pulling you in. Hobbies feel distant. Goals feel heavy. Even small tasks feel pointless before you begin. You tell yourself you'll start later, but later never comes. This isn't a lack of discipline. It's depression dulling your ability to feel reward. Your brain no longer releases motivation in response to effort. So pushing harder doesn't help. It only increases frustration. Motivation doesn't disappear first. Energy does. And when energy is gone, motivation has nothing to stand on. This is where people begin to judge themselves harshly. They compare who they are now to who they used to be. And that comparison hurts. You start believing something is wrong with you, that you've changed for the worse. And when you start believing that story, avoiding problems can feel safer than facing them. Part 8. Avoiding problems. Emails stay unopened. Messages sit unread. Tasks pile up quietly in the background. You know they're there. You think about them often. But every time you try to face them, your body tightens. Avoidance isn't carelessness, it's overload. When you're depressed, your system already feels overwhelmed. Facing a problem means adding more pressure to something that's barely holding together. So your brain chooses relief instead of resolution. Not because it's the best option, but because it's the only one that feels survivable in the moment. Avoidance is often a freeze response. Your nervous system pauses, hoping the threat will pass on its own. The problem is, ignored issues don't disappear, they grow heavier, and the longer they wait, the more power they seem to have over you. And as those problems grow, so does the quiet voice that starts blaming you for everything. Part 9. Guilt and self-hatred. The voice in your head starts changing. It becomes harsher, less patient, less kind. You replay everything you didn't do, everything you avoided, everything you believe you failed at. And slowly, guilt turns inward. You stop blaming the situation. You start blaming yourself. Depression doesn't just lower your mood, it rewrites your inner dialogue. The voice that once supported you becomes critical and unforgiving. Self-hatred and depression often comes from misplaced responsibility. You take credit for pain that was never fully under your control. This is where self-esteem erodes. You question your worth. You doubt your value to others. And the more you believe these thoughts, the harder it becomes to accept care, help, or reassurance. Because when guilt takes over your identity, fear quietly steps in to protect you from hoping again. Part 10. Living in fear. You stop taking chances. Not because you don't want more, but because expecting anything feels dangerous. Opportunities show up and you hesitate. Invitations arrive and you find reasons to decline. Good moments feel temporary, like they might disappear at any time. Depression trains you to expect loss. So your mind chooses caution over hope. Fear becomes a shield. If you don't reach for something, you can't be disappointed when it falls apart. This kind of fear isn't weakness, it's a protective response. Shaped by emotional exhaustion and repeated letdowns. But protection has a cost. The more you avoid hope, the smaller your life becomes. You don't just avoid pain, you avoid growth, connection, and possibility. And that's when the pattern becomes clear, because none of these behaviors are random. They are all part of the same invisible loop. When you step back and look at everything together, a pattern starts to emerge. Isolation, exhaustion, avoidance, guilt, fear. None of these behaviors exist on their own. They feed into each other, quietly forming a loop that's hard to notice from the inside. Depression doesn't begin by making you sad, it begins by draining your energy. Then it changes how you respond to the world, and eventually it changes how you see yourself. That's why pushing harder rarely works. You're not dealing with a motivation problem. You're dealing with a system that's been overloaded for too long. Understanding this matters. Because once you stop calling yourself lazy, broken, or weak, you create space for something different. Not instant happiness, not quick fixes, but clarity. And clarity is often the first real step toward recovery. You don't need more discipline. You need understanding, support, and time, and that changes everything. If this video resonated with you, I want you to know something important. You're not alone in this, and you're not failing at life. If even one part of this felt familiar, leave a comment and simply write, "I'm not lazy, not for anyone else," just as a reminder to yourself. If you want to understand this deeper, the next videos in this series will explore how depression overlaps with burnout, trauma, and emotional neglect. Because many people are trying to fix the wrong problem when what they really need is clarity. So if you're here to understand yourself, not to judge yourself, subscribe and stay with the channel. We'll keep going, slowly, honestly, and together,